Hey y'all, welcome to another episode of Interview with a Reader, and I have Rebecca here with me. Hi, Rebecca.
Hello. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being here. I'm so super excited. You're always doing so many things. I literally see you everywhere like a little book butterfly, I guess I would say. I'm just like, oh, Rebecca's doing this. I gotta go look at this. I gotta go look at this. I gotta go look at this. It's just so much fun. So thank you for being like that.
Thank you. It's book butterfly is a lot nicer than like spaz. Like you're a spaz when you're doing,
No!
So I like book butterfly.
I can't keep up with everything that's going on, and it's like you have a little handle the pulse of this one area, and I'm like, okay, this is cool, this is cool, this is cool. You're always sharing everything that I need to learn about. So,
well, thank you.
And plus, I know you have your own books. You're working with other publishers, and you have Undertaker and all of that stuff. So, tell us first about what drives you to do all of this, because it's not just, hey, I'm doing this as a job. Nobody could just do this as a job. You have to love it.
Yeah, no, I pay to do this job, which is so funny. Like it's the opposite of lucrative. I pay to do it. No, I love it. It's so much fun. And I think if you're not having fun, don't do it. Like I see they're not left and right, but frequently I kind of see authors who are like a little bit miserable because you can't be an overnight Stephen King. It doesn't exist. And if that's your goal, probably don't do this because like 99% of the time, that's not going to happen for a writer, So if you love writing and you love reading and you love connecting with writers and readers, then do this. If there's any like ulterior motive, I think probably people are going to be disappointed,
Because you're not going to be able to keep up that momentum because you can just not fake excitement for a little while maybe, but not long term.
No, I agree with you so much. Like, and I teach creative writing as well. And I kind of have that philosophy like about my teaching is like, I should be the most excited person in the room. And if I'm not excited, why should anybody else be excited? And so it kind of transfers to this part of my life where I'm excited about my book. So I hope readers will be. And I'm excited about the books we're putting out at Undertaker Books. And so I hope that then will kind of be contagious for our readers and for UB authors so that they're promoting their own work and also like helping to celebrate each other's work.
Yes, that's what I always tell people too when I'm writing like reviews and stuff. I'm just like, I'm writing this because I liked it. Like, I want everybody else to also know why I liked it. Make it infectious.
Yes, absolutely. And I do think that there's like a very tight-knit and beneficial community in the sort of horror world where a lot of us know each other and a lot of us are trying to help each other. And sometimes that is like as simple as sharing a post, but sometimes that's also doing a review or giving someone a blurb or whatever, ordering someone's book and putting up a cute picture of it on social media. Like just be there for each other because otherwise, like none of us are going to go anywhere, even a few feet forward,
Yeah. You got to do the whole teamwork thing, totally, yep. In my opinion. I want people to like the stuff that I like, so I tell them about it, and then I see them sharing stuff, and I'm like, oh, of course. Like, Steve Stred, he is always sharing everybody's stuff, and he's just like, I like it, so other people should see it and like it. And I'm like, see, that's wonderful.
Yep.
I love it. It's wonderful. Let's see. So, what am I going to ask? How am I going to ask this? I just had a blonde moment myself.
I think I derailed us because I'm trying to go back to the question that you originally asked me.
The drive for why you do this, which is, we got into that. And I usually roll that in, why does that make you want to write horror? So why does that make you want to write horror? Like, how did you get to this genre?
Okay, so that's a long story. I'm sorry for that. Long story. I wrote a book about it. My book, Creep This Way, is kind of about that journey. And it's about getting into the community and kind of getting into this as like a life choice, like a lifestyle choice. And I got here by way of a very twisty road. And maybe I can like help others not take so many twists and turns. I've always been a writer. I've always loved writing. I decided to go get my MFA in fiction writing. And while I was there, I went to West Virginia University in Morgantown, West Virginia. And the program was very focused on literary fiction to the exclusion of genre fiction. Like there wasn't really an attitude of like what you like, be a good writer no matter what, right? Like it was kind of like, oh, don't do genre stuff. And so I tried really hard to like be a good girl and just do literary stuff, but like the ghosts kept creeping in because like you can't fight who you are, you know, like you can't fight your nature.
Yes.
And I love ghost stories, and I will love them until I'm dead, and then I'm going to hope to become a ghost so I can live my dream, you know?
Ultimate dream.
Ultimate dream of haunting people for fun. And so, you know, after grad school, I kind of got away from it because the literary fiction community, like, spoiler alert, is not so kind. It's not so welcoming. It's not so like sort of friendship oriented. Like I have made wonderful friends in the community. It's not just that they're friendly, it's that now they are my friends, like capital F, you know? But I got away from it and I got into teaching and I got into working and all the things that you get into as an adult. And then during the pandemic, like so many people did, you know, you're staring at the wall for way too long and like questioning every life choice you've ever made.
Yes.
Because like there was this very real, like, okay, is this it? Right? Like this is the moment where we decide if we're all going to get through this, the ones of us who do, right? Because of course so many didn't, but the ones of us who do get through this, like, are we going to continue on as we did? Or are we going to live more like joyful, authentic versions of ourselves? And I know how cheesy that sounds, but it's all true anyway. Like I started therapy, you know, to deal with decades of depression and anxiety. And I realized that what I wanted to do was write, but that I wanted to write what I wanted to write, not what other people thought I should write, which, by the way, has even been a problem sometimes in the horror community because I write weird tales and strange tales, quiet horror, you know, more subtle horror, like literary horror, stuff like that. And it's not a lot of slashers. Every time I try to write a slasher, it ends up being like comedy horror, which I love that too, you know? But I started doing what I wanted to do. I threw myself into becoming a better writer. You know, like I took workshops and I attended Q&A sessions, all of it virtual, of course, at that time, you know, and I joined classes and did whatever I could. And I started submitting my butt off, you know, trying to submit over 100 pieces per year. And for a couple of years, I was doing it. And the acceptances, you know, slowly started to come in. And it's not all about the acceptances, but they do give you a little bit of encouragement to keep going. So, and then kind of once I got my foot in the door, a lot of things started opening up. And now here I am with, you know, more on my to-do list that I can handle. But it is, you know, what I tell people is like even though I'm overwhelmed and even though I'm stressed out and I have no time for like things that some people want to do, you know, everything on my to-do list is my choice now. And it didn't used to be like that.
It's not something you look at and you dread having to get to mark off. You're like, yes, it's a lot, but I'm excited.
Yes, absolutely. Last night I finished an edit of Kathleen Palm's middle grade horror book, Within the Black. And it is so good. It's coming out from Undertaker in November. Super excited. Loved the whole way reading through that thing, even like editing. So I had to have, you know, an eye toward edits, but mostly I was just loving that story. And then today I finished up the book cover for Blood Lake by C.M. Saunders. He is putting out, that will be out very soon, another Western horror novella with Undertaker.
I'm really getting into Western horror here lately.
Well,
I didn't even know I liked it.
Fun. Yes. I never would have just liked Western though. It's like you have to add the spiciness of, you know, like add some flavor to it and then I'm in.
Like romance though, because I'm not a romance reader, but you add some like weird stuff and you can talk me into it. But Western, no, add some weird stuff to the Western, sign me up.
Yes. I really love the first one that C.M. Saunders did with us is called Silent Mine. Mm-hmm. And it is so good. Like, and it was a really good sort of introduction, because it was the first time I had read a full work of Western horror, not a short story, but sort of a longer work. And it's so good that I was like, okay, I am a convert, and
Yes.
now sign me up for some Western horror.
That and historical fiction took me by complete surprise that it was even anything that I would like. And I'm like, these are just so good. Sign me up.
Yes. So yeah, all of that, like exciting things, like things that I'm happy to do and that I'm excited about. And I had a meeting with DL and Cyan this morning at Undertaker with Chloe York, and we were talking about upcoming projects. And now I'm doing this fun interview with you. Like, that has been my weekend. That's an awesome weekend, and it's all things I chose to do.
Yes, like I too have a busy weekend, and it's not like chores or anything. It's like, oh, my weekend's so packed, but I love everything I'm doing, so it's not a dread thing. I totally understand. I love it.
Yep.
So talking into that, how did you decide that you were going to be part of, create Undertaker? Like, where did that come from? Because I know a lot of people do imprints, but you're really like everybody else too. It ain't just for you.
We have we have an interesting beginning, and it's like I can't regret a second of it. So the three of us worked for another small press, and that press like imploded. Like, it went down in utter flames. The person who was in charge made some decisions that we didn't really love or agree with, and a lot of things happened in ways that we weren't really comfortable with. And the three of us we noticed that like we were hard workers. Like, we wanted to do the right thing. We wanted to do right by these authors, and we wanted to do a good job on these books. And so the three of us ended up talking there a lot, sort of just as co-workers, trying to get things done. And then when that press fell apart, we were like, we can do this better. We can do right by these people. And so then we kind of put like our actual money where our mouths were, because of course, like, we're self-funding all of this. And so DL and Cyan broke away first and started Undertaker Books, and then invited me to come be their editor-in-chief. So of course I was like, I would love to, and like skipped right along over there. We took several of our books with us from that other press. We sort of, come on over, like, we're doing this, come with us. And they did. And round about that same time, a few other small presses went under for various reasons. Some of them just closed because their owners were doing other things. Some of them also kind of had sad stories, but there were a lot of homeless books. Yeah. Like, and that's sad, right? Like, homeless books are sad because it is so tough to get someone to accept your book, and then to have that dream smashed because the press goes under is like a very specific kind of double heartbreak. So we were just like fishing books out of the water. Like, we joked that we should be called Rescue Press, because we were just like, we had like a net, and we were just like, come here, we'll take you. And so our first year was insane, because no one should do 14 books in 8 months, guys. No one should do that, but we did. And we're slowing down year by year, but here we are about a year and a half old. So we are like going strong. We're really having fun. We are realizing what we love, so I do think we'll see a little bit of focus. We're going to see focus on Southern Gothic. We're going to see focus on Western horror. We see a lot of focus on queer horror.
When you start to develop your personality,
yes. Well, we've got our little like, we're like Cerberus the dog. We've got like this 3-headed personality. So
yes,
it's like we work really well together, and we are really good at compromising. So it's like, well, you want this and I want this, and you can have this and I'll have this, and we tend to like, we get along well. And I think not everybody can say that of their business partners, but we do. I'm lucky to have those guys.
That sounds so cool. This is like one of those, I don't want to say Hallmark movie, Lifetime dream type situations, but it kind of is.
Halloween Hallmark
yes,
horror.
Halloween Hallmark. that to someone, a documentary on this.
Yes.
Oh, that's just so cool.
And we've met so many awesome people, like just great, great people. And, we have authors that we've worked with more than once. Like we took on Kathleen Palm's entire trilogy. We're like, give it all to us. Robert Atone, we're like, we want the whole thing, and C.M. Saunders just publishing his second one with us, but we are lined up for another with him, so it's been really fun and great. And that's
another good thing is not just that you guys are giving authors chances, but authors are giving you chances as a new press. Because it's not like you have a long-standing, we've been doing this a million years type thing.
Oh,
but
yeah.
You have so many people that trust and believe in this.
And that is hard to come by. It's hard to find people who you say, look, our website is 1 day old. Will you come over and publish with us? And to have them take a chance has meant so much. And for me, luckily, it was a lot of folks who we had met at that previous press we worked for, so they had already worked with us a bit and so trusted us to come over, or they were people who knew us by reputation. They were like, oh, Rebecca's okay. So, I'll trust her to go and try this out. And so far we have just been fortunate. Like readers have been really kind. Reviewers have been really kind. We've gotten some really lovely write-ups, and it's, how tough it is, because I'm sure you get 75 requests a week, for reviews. The fact that anyone gave a brand new press a chance and did some reviews, like you don't get luckier than that. You cannot ask for more than that as a new press.
And especially people that are just getting reviews too, like reviewers, they have to decide which book am I going to read. They can't read them all, but they're taking a chance on new authors, which I love indie anything. So I'm always like, let me see what indie stuff we have first. But I know others aren't like that and don't have time for that. Yep. So whenever I see people doing it, I'm like, yes, you are doing the book Lord's work.
Yes. And it's a, best of times. It's challenging just because there are a limited number of people and venues, who can do reviews and who can do interviews like this and who can sort of devote their time, because there are more great books in the world than there is time to read and review them.
I know. I wish I had like a time turner or a time stopper, clock stoppers, any of those things, so I could just stop it, read a ton of books, and then start back up again.
Yep. I have books on my pile that I picked up at StokerCon in 2022. And they're like still in my pile back there. So
yes. My books just look at me from my shelf, judging a lot of the times. But I'm like, I'll get to you eventually.
But then you bring home more, and then you're like, you just add them to the pile. So. Yeah.
And then they all talk about it, I'm sure. It's a very Toy Story situation where they all gossip when I'm asleep.
That's creepy.
A little bit.
Yeah.
So let's see. Talking about all that stuff, let's talk about your writing. Are you a planner? Do you plot things out? Do you just fly by the seat of your pants? Are you in the middle? What kind of situation do you have?
I am all over the board, because for me, it depends on the project. Ooh. I have had stories come out, like hang on, this one. Don't mind my Post-it notes, but so this is my newest book, 6 O'Clock House and Other Strange Tales. And the last story in that collection is called Damp in the Walls. And for whatever reason, that story sort of wrote itself. And I did a lot of hard work and I did a lot of research and all of that. But when I wrote it, I could see the shape of the whole story. Ooh. And that's not common for me. Usually I am kind of writing my way to the ending and seeing what happens, but that one, I did an outline and it came out the way I thought it would, and it worked really well. Other stories have been torn apart and I've done 25 rewrites, with the ending changing every single time. The novel that I'm writing right now, it's called Beth Bites Back, and it comes out next May. So May of 2026. And I started it with index cards. And I kind of had these scene by scene index cards. And that helped me for a long time develop it. And then eventually, like, I got away from those index cards because the story takes on a life of its own, and you know, you need to rearrange things and add things and all of that. But those index cards got me going.
Ooh, I like that. Because I ask a lot of people, and some people, they only outline. Some people, they only wing it. And I'm like, I feel like if I was writing, it would definitely be a mixture of both, because I don't think I could just nail it down. It depends on what I'm writing.
Yep. Yeah, some things you know the shape of. There are a couple stories in that collection. I knew the endings first, and then I had to like reverse engineer my way to the beginning, you know? So it is different for every single story. For longer projects, I find that like my poetry though, just like those endings surprise me. Like as I'm writing it, I'm like, oh, I didn't know that would happen, you know? But like
I feel like poetry's emotional though. Do you really know where you're going to end up when you start a poem?
Yeah, I mean, but a lot of my poems are narrative, and so they're like these little stories. But sometimes even like I get to the end and I was like, oh, that's what was under that mask, you know? And I didn't know until I wrote the word. I was like, ooh,
I do like that. So cool.
Yeah, I'm pitching a new collection of poetry in the fall. Ooh. So that my first book ever is a really tiny poetry chapbook. Like, I don't even know if you can tell how skinny it is, but it's like 18 poems. And it was kind of my my foot into this world, you know, like it was this first thing. It was not really planned out. It was, again, during the pandemic, during the lockdown of the pandemic, I saw an ad from, I'm forgetting the name right now, but from a press in the UK. And they were doing a chapbook competition. And my book didn't win, but it made it into one of their final rounds. And so I thought, well, and by the way, I didn't have a poetry collection until I saw that on Twitter. I saw on Twitter that they were doing this, and I was like, do I have enough poems for a little chapbook? And I did. And so I put them all together and kind of organized them and sent them off. And so when I made it to their short list, I was like, oh, well, maybe I have something that somebody else would want too, you know? And I sent it out to about 10 other places. Alien Buddha Press picked it up. And so, like, this is what made me a published author, is like, you know, this
sometimes
tiny little book.
Just something small that makes you think, you know what, maybe this is something that I can do. And then you just got to go from there. I love that.
Yeah, you do have to jump. Like you just have to be like, you know what? And you have to ignore the self-doubt and the what ifs. Like just go.
I'm one of those people that's super anxious, and I made a deal with myself when I was very, very, very small. And I was like, if you really want to do something, but you are absolutely terrified, if I start counting to 10, by the time I get to 10, I have to do it. It does not matter. That is one promise I've never broke for myself. And I only use it when I really want to do something. So by that point, I'm like, man, I must really want to do this. And then you just do it.
I love that. That is wild. I've never heard that before, but I really like it.
I'm like, listen, you got to not break promises to somebody, and I can't break them to myself. So
I love that. And that idea that the absolute, like in this world, right? Like the world of writing, the very worst thing that you can hear is no. Who cares? You know, it's not personal. Like you're going to hear no a lot. That's fine. Just like
that's why
there's
so many publishers, so many presses, so many agents, so many genres. There's options.
Yep.
No for one person is yes for somebody else.
Exactly. And it's the same thing about like reviews. And I got used to the no's from the publishers, and the editors. Like those no's got pretty easy, frankly. I'm just like, oh, okay, go on to the next one. I then had to get used to like the no's from readers, the 1-star reviews and the people who are just mean. Like just mean.
Trust me.
Yep. It's weird, right? But also like somebody, it was actually Judith Sonnet, author Judith Sonnet, and she said, when you get even like 3s and 2s and 1s, you should be proud of that. That's a sign of progress, because that means you are reaching beyond the circle of readers made up of your family and friends. Yes. That means a stranger read your book.
Somebody that doesn't know you
at all, like maybe doesn't even like you, picked up your book, even if they hate read it. Like if your worst enemy picks up your book and reads it and goes up and put a 1-star review up, that means that they spent time on what you created, which is kind of amazing, right? So, and really when Judah said that, it kind of clicked for me. It made a difference, and I started to see those reviews differently, you know?
No, completely. Like when I see, as a reader, just reading stuff, and I'm looking at other people's reviews, if I see somebody that has done a 1-star review and it actually has like chunks of words, like information, I'm like, man, I need to know why you hated this so much. I need to read this. Like it evoked something, so clearly there's something there. So I love that.
Yes. One of my favorite little review stories is that I had someone give my book a 2. Which one? Oh, okay. It was Self-Made Monsters. Okay. So somebody gave the book a 2, and I was like, oh, like that sucks. That's too bad. And then the next time I looked, the person had gone in and changed it to a 1. A week later, this person changed it to a 1, which means that they
were still thinking about it.
Yes, they not only hated my book, but they thought about it for a week, got more mad at it, and bothered to log into Goodreads and change their review. That's kind of awesome if you look at it from that sort of logistical perspective, you know?
And that's something that I would want to know. I need to know why you thought about that book for a week and then came back. We used to live here by Marcus, and I can't pronounce his last name because I will butcher it. It starts with a K, Claru. I've seen so many people posting 1- and 2-star reviews with like these paragraph longs of why I hate this book. And I was like, okay, I got to just try it. One of my favorite books I've read last year.
That's awesome. That's right. Like that is a great way to look at it, is like someone thought about this enough to dislike it. And then they thought about it enough to want to write about it and tell other people about it. And that is like a level of commitment that is impressive from someone who does not like your stuff. So
that is, that's a lot. Let's see. Talking about that, already talked about your writing process a little bit. Who do you think, and I mean now younger, I know people have different role models and inspiration as they go. Did you think, hey, I want to be a writer because I read this and it just made me think, wow, this is amazing. If you have somebody like that, it could be directors too, which I've found inspire a lot of people to write.
I think that there are so many, it would be hard to say, but when I look at my younger self, the first time I thought maybe I could do this was during my undergraduate college years, when I was reading people like Margaret Atwood and Joyce Carol Oates, and got into some Edith Wharton. And I think from there, like Daphne du Maurier and Shirley Jackson. And oh gosh, I'm blanking on somebody and I'm sorry. But so like reading, you know, these, because in high school, you really don't get to read contemporary authors. And if you do get to read contemporary authors, it's probably not on subject matter you're really that interested in. So getting to college and seeing these women who were still literary writers, you know, but who went into like this darker subject matter, I think it kind of sparked something in me that said, oh, you know, I wonder if I could do this too. And then, you know, there are a lot of people who I just look up to now in the community who, like Gwendolyn Keist, because The Haunting of Velkwood is one of the best books I've read in the past 10 years. So, you know, it's kind of like people that you're working with right now and you're seeing the cool things they're doing. And it's very validating to be like, well, if, you know, if they can do this, why can't I do this?
Yes. I love that. And I always love asking who inspired you guys, because I like to hear the answers, especially when I've read the books that you've written and I'm like, oh, I see that. Oh, I see that. And I'm like, oh, yes, when you mentioned Shirley Jackson, I'm like, yes, I see this, the haunting way you write. This beautiful.
Thank you.
I love when it translates over too.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. So I think that it's kind of neat because like the longer you do it, it's like your heroes switch over a little bit from like these long dead people you read, and you might still, of course, admire them. I'll always admire what they've done, but getting to work with living authors who are putting out work right now, and that's who I'm learning from. Like my example with Judith Sonnet, like Judith Sonnet taught me something that no, you know, long dead author could ever teach me. It was something that she said right now that made a difference to me.
And y'all are so, and it's not just her talking to you or authors to authors. I've noticed just in the community so often somebody asks for help with something. And referring back to Judith, when she talks about not using AI, doing art, what
Yep.
she uses, she's like, you have graphic artists. And she always talks about the Smithsonian and all that. And I'm like, yes, this is the kind of thing I love. Help everybody else out so they don't make terrible mistakes.
Yes. And, I have, I think it makes sense that like we trust those people that we know more.
Yeah.
So it's like if I know someone has my best interest in mind, I'm going to trust what they're saying to me. Recently, I put up a post on Facebook about a novella that I was going to publish through a small press, and that small press sort of disappeared. And I don't want to speculate on what happened because honestly, nobody knows. This sort of entire publisher just kind of blinked out, like teleported to another dimension. No one ever knew what happened. But my contract was sort of in limbo because, and by the way, this happened to a lot of us. We didn't know. So this person has disappeared, but our contract's still valid because there's no what if the publisher disappears clause,
You can't think of everything, and who puts that into them?
Yes. And like, I think about it now, we actually added something with Undertaker, like a communication clause that's basically like, if we cannot get a hold of you for so long, we're done, right? Like we're not chasing you into another dimension. Yeah. But my contract was in limbo because the contract said that my book was sort of unavailable to me for 18 months after the date of acceptance, which means that it just became free on July 1st. And I followed the contract because I would rather err on the side of caution when it comes to legal stuff. Yeah. And frankly, because I just had like other pots on the stove. I didn't need to worry so much about that novella. I was like, if it kind of sees the light of day someday, that's great, but I'm not going to worry about it right now. But because it became available again, I found myself thinking about it, and I wrote a post, a week or two ago about it. Since then, I've had like 4 or 5 different presses reach out to me, just offering help. No promises, no guarantees, but just people saying, hey, if you wanted to send that to us, we'd love that.
That's amazing. Because people saw your post, and I'm sure they said, hey, talk to somebody. Because when I see posts where there's something that I can help with, I'll be like, okay, I'm going to go see if I can go talk to somebody direct on this way. Be like, hey. And I love that other people are doing that too. Yeah.
Yes. And small things do go a long way. Like the people you help will not forget it, and vice versa, So, and I think that's how you build relationships, and like sharing the talent you have that's not a big deal for you, but is a big deal for someone else, I think is really important.
Yes.
I do a little bit of cover design. I'm not going to go so far as to say that I'm an artist because I'm not the artist in the way some people are artists, but I do a little bit of cover design. I can do cover design for folks who are in need, so they can't afford cover art that they might otherwise like to buy. Mm-hmm. Or they're in a bind for time and don't have time to go through the process of that. I'm like, I do covers for my friends. I'm like, if you need a cover, just like holler at me. I'm not saying that it's going to win a prize,
but job done.
But it won't be AI. I will spend time on it. I will listen to you to see what you want. I will work with you to get it to what you want, and for me, like, it's almost helpful because I am still learning about design. I'm getting back into art. I was an art major in high school. That was forever ago for me, so it's like new and old at the same time. So like if you can help someone, especially if it's like a resource or a talent or something that you have like to hand, like, you don't have to put yourself out all the time to help other people. Just be small things, or contact, passing on a contact. You share an email of someone, or you ask a friend, hey, can I send this person your way because they are looking for XYZ, whatever,
I do that for ARCs for some authors, because they'll be like, hey, do you want to read this? And I'm like, yeah. And they're like, do you know anybody else that's reliable? And I'm like, let me go check first, because I'm not just giving out names. First off, that's rude. But like, I need to make sure that they're actually going to read it first, because I'm not passing along a name that's going to make me look bad neither.
And that is one thing that can come back to bite you a little bit. Hopefully people know that, whatever you are sharing, it's in good faith, that that you're passing this along, but it's sort of like a buyer beware situation. So
out of my hands, and I can't make them do anything, but here you go. Here's the ladder.
Yes. Here are some contacts I know of, or some people I know. Here's a short list of cover artists I've worked with before. Go contact these folks,
Absolutely.
Yep.
I love stuff like that. It just makes everything easier. Like, I'm not a super people person. I'm super introverted, but I do stuff like this because I like it.
Yes. And always, like, saying thank you to people goes a long way too, and making sure that they know you appreciate them. Like, man, tag your cover artists. Tag your cover artists. Every time people compliment my covers, I'm like, and I'm looking at my screen. I know people like are not seeing where I'm pointing, but like, both of these are Chad Lutsky. Chad Lutsky did these. Chad Lutsky is awesome. Like, go to Chad Lutsky and get your covers. This was Joshua Lloyd Fox and Susan Rohde. Go to them, get your covers. I've got covers waiting for me to write something for them from Christy Aldridge. Ruth Anna Evans did the cover for The Hauntings Back Home, and I'm very excited to share that when it's out. Dakota Marquardt not only does the covers, but does all of the custom illustrations for my children's books. So, like, Dakota Marquardt can draw you from scratch, the most beautiful, spooky things.
And I'm not going to lie, I'm not one to judge a book by its cover, but I do know some cover artists. I recognize their work when I see it over and over and over again. And the people that tag them in that, I'm like, oh, I know what kind of art they usually have. I know the books that usually go with it. And I'm much more likely to read the book, just to pick it up, bump it up my list. Like, anytime I see Ben Baldwin has done some new artwork for something, I'm like, right there. What are you going with, Oh,
yeah. Like Lynn Hanson. Like, usually if there's like a Lynn Hanson cover on something, I know that's quality work on the inside too.
And I don't think people think about that at all sometimes. And I'm like, tag them. Tag your publisher, tag your cover artist, tag them. Trust me.
Tag them. And again, it's like this mutual help thing, tag your cover artist so that then they'll share your post. You're thanking them, but they'll help you out. Every time you tag your publisher, you're advertising that publisher, and then they share your work, right? And it's helping to get your work into the world. So I think that not thinking of things as like a chore, but like an exchange of help, just like a net instead of a fishing line. I don't know where I'm going with that.
Network? Kind of a
network, yes.
Spider's web. Like what it is. And like that way you also find more people that actually like the same stuff you do. Your algorithm gets to be that. And then trust me, when your algorithm becomes the stuff that you like, it is so peaceful. And it helps to share things. But yes, let's see. We've mostly talked books and stuff. Do you have movies, TV shows, horror, anything like that you do that's outside of books? It can be anything, of course. Artwork?
Well, my husband and I really like our spooky movies. I tell people, like, he is the horror person. He is the one who got me into this. He knows more about, like, the history of horror and horror authors than I ever will. He collects vintage paperbacks from like the 70s, 80s, 90s horror, and like our house is full of it, which is awesome. And we have overlap, so we don't always like the exact same movies, because I do the slow burn haunting stuff and he's not always up for that. And he watches stuff that's like too gory for me, like stuff that I won't watch, but that's okay because his brother likes it. So he watches those things with his brother, you know.
There's horror for everybody.
There's horror for everybody. The horror umbrella is so huge. I wish people would, first of all, don't say you hate horror, because there are like 40 million genres and subgenres and cross genres within the horror world. You know, there's so much out there. Yeah. So it's like, so people will say, oh, I don't like horror, but they'll be like, I like ghost stories. And it's like, say that again.
That's horror. It's the same thing.
Yes. Repeat that. Say that again. Repeat that to yourself. By the way, I'm sorry. I'm plugging in my computer here. But yes. So we like to watch stuff together. We just, like 2 nights ago, watched John Carpenter's The Thing.
Ooh, okay.
Now I'm like not finding where I plug my computer in. Okay. With our niece and nephew. And that was really fun.
That is fun. I don't get to watch as many horror movies as I used to, I feel like. I just don't. So I'm super behind. And Caleb has been putting together a super cool horror movie thing for
I participated in that.
It was so hard. I'm like,
well, I had to put a note at the bottom of my survey because I was like, it was hard enough just to put 25 on here, because my husband was helping me think of movies that we liked, and because his memory is better than mine. And so he would be like, oh, and you liked blah, blah, a lot. But then I would have to like think like, oh, well, I want to add this one, but that means I have to take off another one.
I know.
So it was really hard to get 25 down, not even to mention ranking, though I will admit to everybody, I put The Babadook as number 1.
I've seen so many people seeing everybody else's list, and they're like, I can't believe they rated this one. And I'm like, isn't this so fun though? Like, you really see how different everybody's tastes are.
The first time I saw The Babadook, like, it freaked me out so much. And I'm like, that will stay with me forever.
That movie was so artistically haunting that, like, it just took it for me. Like, I don't get scared like that by anything, but, like, I could feel it, like, settling over you in the room while you were watching it. Like, this is spooky. This is a literal fog. So anytime anything makes me feel something, I'm like, yeah, you are amazing. Very cool. So cool.
Yeah, but it's so hard to name favorite anything for me. Like when people say like, oh, favorite or even top 5, like I just freeze up, because like there have just been so many that like, what do you pick? I know, like I love comedy horror too. So What We Do in the Shadows was on that list. Obviously the show is great too, which you don't see a lot. Like either the show is better or the movie is better. And those, like, they're different, but they're both so good. And Dale and Tucker versus Evil, I think, had to be on there because I love that.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. I put Cabin in the Woods on mine because I know it's not technically funny, but it was kind of funny. It was just fun.
Yeah, it did have like it had like a bizarre quality to it, I think.
Yes. Yeah. Absolutely. But and then I seen somebody would name a movie and I'm like, damn, I didn't put that on my list. But I'm like, who would I take off of my list?
Exactly.
And then I got in an argument with the internet just in general, because there was a movie I wanted to put on there and every site was like, it's just sci-fi. It's just sci-fi. And I'm like, are you sure it's not sci-fi horror? Let's talk about that. But it was funny to see how it got slotted genre-wise. And it's like, okay, there's so much open interpretation for horror. It's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. But it was kind of a fun thing to like sit down with him and just try to remember the movies that we've loved. And
that's so fun too. I love that you guys have that little thing where you watch the movies.
We do. We have for Christmas last year, I got him like this. And again, like, I don't know who decided on these, whatever. It's fine. It's fun. It's a top 100 horror movie scratch off poster.
Oh, yes.
And we like take turns scratching one off and then watch it. And we're not very far into it because we just don't have a ton of time for like TV or movies. But it is a fun thing that we do together. And when we watched The Thing the other night, we were outside, like he has like one of those projectors, like in a big screen and stuff. So
that's so cool.
Yeah. So it was fun. And our niece and nephew are older now. Like they're old enough to watch that stuff with us now. They're like almost 16 and almost 19.
Yes. See, that's even better. I love family stuff like that. It's just so cool. especially when I talk to you guys and you're like, hey, we do this. And I'm like, yes.
Yep.
I talked to someone yesterday that plays horror video games with their kids and stuff. And I'm like, wonderful. Love it.
Yep. It's adorable.
It is.
The best is because I write like spooky books. They're kind of like all ages picture books because really like anyone can love them, you know, but it's the best when somebody tells me that their kid loved it, you know.
I love that. I mean, kids are hard to impress too, let's be honest.
They are.
I used to read it as a kid and I'm just like,
well, and a lot of parents don't let their little kids do spooky stuff. You know, like they would hear it and be like, oh no, you know. So it's really fun when people are like, oh, monsters? Yeah, I'm going to give that to my kid.
Not that I read a lot of books I shouldn't have read young as a kid, but I just had options for so many books. And I think that's really what helped me, you know, hey, I love to read, pass it on. I think that some kids are missing that whole thing.
They are. And there have been studies done about how like horror is good for kids. And I'm not saying to like let them watch age inappropriate stuff or whatever. But like let your middle schoolers read middle grade horror, let your teenagers read YA horror, because it's a way to like feel safe scared, you know, like it's a way to experience fear and experience discomfort, but there's a layer of safety there too, because they know it's just in the book or they know it's just on the TV, and it helps them to process real life scary things later on. You know, it's sort of like training in a way, right? That you don't want your kids' first scary moment to be when they're 20 years old and they've never before felt any degree of creeped out, you know?
Especially when you're not there to help. Well, not that you're not there, but you know, they're not in your house anymore. They're not little. You can't just go help them in their room.
Yes. I know people who are like, my kid's first horror movie, they're going to watch at home with me, you know, because like if they have nightmares, I want them at home with me, not like at a slumber party.
I literally just talked to somebody about this the other day, and I'm like, you know, not everybody has good emotional regulation. I am one of them. And I'm not just going to go watch a sad Lifetime movie. I'm not interested in it. But I will go get a sad horror book and let myself work through it as I go. And then it's not really bad because there's some horror at the end and it's fun, you know?
Yep. Yeah. Absolutely.
Let's see. Okay, I'm going to ask about, do you like to go to like conventions or book signings? Do you get to do fun stuff like that? Some people
do as much as I can. So much. And this year I think I did too much because I've got like a little bit of travel fatigue, like a little bit of burnout. But and first I want to say that I am very lucky. I'm very fortunate because my union at work provides professional development funding grants. So like I've applied before, and the reason I've gotten to go to some things like StokerCon is because I've gotten those grants. And I know not everyone has access to that. And going to conventions and traveling is so expensive and it's so hard to do. And some people just can't. So I know how lucky I am. This year I went to Dark Drafts in January. And then I was at AuthorCon, and then I was at StokerCon, and then I was at Imaginarium. And I do a bunch of local events too. Like there's this really great bar, this great local bar, Downtown Brew, and they host book launches for me. And it's so much fun. And like there are horror authors from Buffalo who I know, and like we'll get together and do things. And I got a show in Lewiston, which is near Buffalo. I'm in Western New York, so I'm about an hour from Buffalo, but I've got a show there on April 30th called the Better Off Read Festival, READ Festival. So it's a big book festival in Art Park, and that's going to be cool. And then I've just got like, I'm doing a paranormal convention in September. Chautauqua Area Paranormal Society's Paracon is in September. And then I've like just, you know, like it's like little local things and other things. I go to as many as I can, mostly because it's awesome to learn, but it's great to meet readers and all of that.
I bet. That is so fun. And I love that you go to all of the local ones as well. I swear, I'm always watching people that even aren't local to me that are authors shared stuff that are local, because I'm like, man, when I'm looking for somewhere to travel or do a vacation, I want to see the weird little things, like not a ball of yarn, large ball of yarn, but like the weird little signings and events and stuff like that. So much fun.
Yep.
I really wish there was a database that somebody kept up with all of them, so we could just scroll. Yep. But till then, I just rely on everybody else posting about them.
Yes, yes. And I will say, like, the ones that, like, smaller, larger, whatever, like, they haven't all sort of been equally helpful or equally fun, but it's very rare that I don't get something out of those places. Like, I was just at Imaginarium and I got like a new novel idea while I was there. I got 4 new poems while I was there, just like from workshops and classes and panels and all of that good stuff.
So opportunities when you're doing something like that.
And I would, sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Just that when people go, like, don't be shy, go to the stuff. Like, don't, and I can be antisocial, you know? So my husband's always like, make sure you don't just stay in your room, go do stuff, you know?
Because everybody's there for that.
Yep. But sometimes, like, my instinct is like to just hide in my room, you know? But like, if you're going to spend the money and you're going to take the time to go to this stuff, like, go to the panels, go to the readings, go to the talks, go to the workshops, like, whatever you can sign up for, go do it. Because, like, I was like, oh, this is interesting. It was this, actually have it here. It's, so the poet, her name is Erin Crittenden. Okay. So she had a little poetry workshop. And I was like, oh, this is fun, you know, because I need to be adding poems to the collection I'm pitching in the fall. So I was like, oh, I'll go to this. And then from that workshop, I ended up with like 2 or 3 new poems. I wrote another one. And so it's like, you don't know what's going to come from that. So just go do it and see.
Yes, absolutely. Because you just literally never know. There's been panels that I've went to just as someone going to listen. And like, I didn't get anything out of the actual panel itself, but I made some friends while I was standing in line. And then those friends helped me out with something else. I don't know. It's just wonderful. There's always something to meet, talk to, network.
Yes. And it could be somebody
also antisocial.
Well, yeah, well, and I think that this is like the right community for people who maybe have like a little bit of the social anxiety that a lot of us feel.
It's easier because you know everybody else likes the same general area that you like.
Yeah.
It makes it easier.
There's a lot of common ground there already, especially if it's like genre specific. So like Imaginarium is not genre specific. So there weren't like a ton of like horror authors there, but there were a good amount. But if you're definitely at a place like StokerCon or something, it's like, well, they're already your people. So just go talk to them.
Yeah. Absolutely. It does make it much easier like that. Yeah. So I'm very grateful when there's like little pockets, little cons, and there's so many of them these days.
Yep.
Something for everybody.
Yep.
Okay, let's see. Starting to wrap everything up. Community-wise, is there any shout-outs to people, publishers, communities, anything that you want to say, hey, these people are absolutely amazing and I love them?
I think there are so many. And so I can't name them all, but every one of my publishers has been awesome. So Alien Buddha Press, Seamus and Nunzio Productions. The one of them is AEA Press, but the imprint is Malediction. That's Jason McCord's press. He does my picture books. Water Tower Hill Publishing has been really wonderful. They did 6 O'Clock House, and they're going to do Beth Bites Back and that series. So, and I'm sure I'm missing some, but I'm in talks with some other publishers about, you know, some other books, and some who have my work right now, some who have given me permission to pitch to them soon. Some of them we're sort of plotting together a book that we want to do together and release later on. And so there are too many wonderful people to thank, but I can say that my publishers have been really wonderful. And also a couple of my writing mentors, Lindsay Mirbaum and Mona Lawrence, have been so fantastic. And not just them, but like the communities they foster have been so helpful. Undertaker Books and all my people at Undertaker and all of my authors at Undertaker, like wonderful, wonderful people. And I could just go on and on, but they're how lucky that there are too many wonderful people to be able to thank right now. You know?
I know. That's so wonderful, because I know some people are like, oh, here's a couple of people, but when you have so many, it's like, okay, let's get a scrolling thing so we can just keep going on for another hour. And I love that.
Yep. Candace Nola has been super generous with like, you know, just like,
she's so supportive.
Yeah, you can do like just knowledge, things that she knows that, you know, I haven't known yet. Like I'm still new in a lot of ways, and she's been lovely. So
she's always so helpful. I hear that from so many people, and I follow her, of course.
Yep.
She's always ready to share something, tell you, hey, this is what I did. She's just so role model material.
Yep. James Sabata, Ellen Lastufka, like just people who are awesome.
They are. And this stuff ain't easy either. So that's another thing. I'm like, you guys are doing this like every single day while also doing everything of a normal life. It's not just, hey, I'm just doing this. You still manage to make time for people. And I'm just so in awe of that. So thank you. And every one of you like that.
Oh, we're just like, we are just thrilled to be here. I really think that it's like every day is its own participation trophy. Like just being able to be here, you know, like be grateful for that and enjoy that, because so many people are like standing at the door and they don't, you know, they're too shy to come in or something. So it's like, invite them in when you can, and be really grateful that you're already like at the party, you know.
You already got an invitation.
Yeah. Like you don't need to be Stephen King. You're already so fortunate to be here, you know?
Yes, absolutely. I love that. And thank you for sharing that. The last thing I want to ask is, other than what you've already told us, because you've already given us so much information, do you have any wisdom that you would want to pass down to any authors that are looking to get into this or thinking about it?
Yeah, I think that you have to remind yourself to keep coming back to this balance, because you're gonna get out of balance in one way or the other, you know, again and again, and you just have to keep bringing yourself back. So you've got to both stay true to yourself and what you want to write. So like your subject matter and your style, you know, like the things you love, hold those things and don't let them go, even if they're not trendy, right? Like do what you want to do, but also be humble and learn everything you can from everyone you meet. Like every opportunity you have, take it, you know, so that you're doing what you want to do, but what you do is getting better all the time, you know? So like there's a way to be confident and comfortable without getting pig-headed or arrogant, you know, because when you're arrogant, you stop learning, and that's so sad, and you're going to get stale, you know? So you have to sort of remain teachable no matter how far you make it or how many books you have in the world. Like stay teachable, learn new things, and, you know, remind yourself that there are things to learn, that you don't know everything, and that, you know, anyone you meet can be someone who teaches you something that sticks with you and makes a difference.
New trick to add, new idea, new anything to make your entire craft better going forward.
Yep.
Thank you so much for that, and thank you for being here today.
Thank you for inviting me to talk about all this stuff.
This was so fun. I've been looking forward to this interview, I have to say, because I love your books, and I just love how you are. I literally, when I see you posting, I'm like, this is what I want to do. Not write, of course, but just the same vibe. You know?
If you want to write, you should write. Just, I'm saying, if you ever change your mind, do it.
Of course. And everybody else, if you think you can write, or if you even want the idea, do it. Does not matter. I used to put on Wattpad like half the other people that I know. So, you know, do something.
Do something. Get out there. And a nice way to like get in the community, like if you want to meet people, is to start doing reviews. Like writers would not be writers without readers, right? Like it's one cannot exist without the other.
I know so many reviewers that have turned straight into writers, and I hear it all the time, and I'm like, that's great. I just love reading and writing reviews. But like so many people, that's how they got their foot in the door. Yep. And I love it.
And like if they're like fans of somebody, like if you're like, oh my gosh, I love I'm just gonna name someone famous and nice, Gabino Iglesias, you know? Like if you're like, oh, I love Gabino's work so much. It's like, awesome. Write to him. Ask him if you can review his book or do an interview or something. Like, these people are nice people, you know.
They are.
Just like reach out.
I literally never thought in a million years I would get to sit here and talk to you guys of the books that I read, because I am that girl. I'm a literal book fan girl since I was super small. And I asked another author just off the cuff, not in the community. I've never spoke to him on Facebook, but I found their website. They had a contact me form, and I just emailed and I was like, hey, I love your books. I have this platform. Do you want to do an interview with me? And they literally messaged me back, and I almost screamed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like
it's so fun.
It's like these people want to connect. They want to reach out, you know, and they want you to reach out to them. So, like, I think if people want to like join the community, they just should. There are so many ways to do that, like as a writer or as a reader or as both, you know. But it matters, you know, and everything that they do matters. Nobody's nobody, you know.
Like, it's a good place to just be in general. There is no like real hierarchy, if that makes sense. So it's nice. It's nice.
Mm-hmm.
Good community.
Yes. It's an accessible community, and I think that not every genre can say that. So.
Oh, absolutely.